So this I'm a high performer is very common, and I have even Eric Schmidt that we showed. He was the CEO of Google. He wrote a full book on his coaching. When first they gave him the advice to get a coach, he was resentful. He said, why would I need a coach? Am I doing something wrong? And he says the coach doesn't have to play the sport as well as you do. They have to watch you and get you to be at your best. So it's interesting that he started from this and he ended up writing a full book dedicated to his coach. I have some data to share with you that actually only 12% of coaching assignments have as an objective to address an issue. This part of coaching, like your company might hire a coach to say, oh, we have a great leader, he's a high performer, but let's say he's a micromanager, or he's doing this, or he's angry, or whatever. This is part of coaching, but it's only 12%. The majority of the coaching assignments are exactly to develop high potential employees. This is when the companies usually invest in coaching. Then facilitated transition. Coaching comes in when you're changing jobs, getting a bigger job or a new job can be helpful. And then act as a sounding board. Like this is the majority of the coaching. So it is a myth that, if I get a coach, I'm doing something wrong. It's quite the opposite. Usually you are a high performer and high potential, so the company invests in you. I'm an action-oriented person. I do not need coaching. It can be even more helpful for people that are action-oriented because naturally they won't sit and reflect. It's not in the nature. So by holding that space, and sometimes I think our brain is like the snowball that is constantly moving, and there's the snow, and in coaching you just sit it down and the snow settles and you can see clearly what's going on and what's the next action. That's a quote they attributed to Abraham Lincoln: if I had 5 minutes to cut down a tree, I would spend the first 3 sharpening my axe. Sometimes we're on the move because we're afraid that if we sit and reflect something, we may see something that we don't like. People may want to protect themselves, and I want to share that also, okay, if you're afraid to look at something and for now you just need to put it under the carpet, that can be okay as well. That's your way of protecting yourself. Many times though, just looking at the truth will set you free. Many times it can be incredibly beneficial to actually look at things, even if we're a little bit afraid. Myth number 3, I do not have time for coaching, I'm too busy. Yeah, I have a quote from meditation, but I thought it applies to coaching as well, from Gandhi. I have so much to accomplish today that I must meditate for 2 hours rather than 1. And also, the data shows that actually you get better time management with coaching. I coach my clients for 90 minutes, 2 hours a month, or every 6 weeks, depending. So if you don't have 90 minutes a month to work on something that's important for you, then I think there's other issues to look. And also, when a client may reschedule, or I see some resistance then the discussion I have is, are you prioritizing yourself? Because we all do, we prioritize all others, and we may neglect ourselves, but we can only serve others if we serve ourselves first. Next one, manager, friends, do I need a coach? Your manager, and it's great that the manager have coaching skills, will not only have your agenda, they have to hold the company's agenda as well. So that's, it is the way it is. And in your friend also, there's some reciprocity expected. Yes, I'll listen to you, but after some point, like it's not. I haven't seen a friend listen to me like my coach for 2 hours, and working on there's some reciprocity expected. Coaching training, you mentioned that. Making mutual objective, you mentioned that. Code of conduct, confidentiality. These are the distinctions. Are we missing something? By the way, coaches do not replace managers and friends. Like we need to have discussions. It's really important to have discussions with our managers and our friends. It's a complement. 5, I do not see the point of coaching if I do not going to get any advice. Most of us are not really good at following advice. And a lot of people are resistant because in the advice, there's some inherent, I know better. And a lot of times we're resistant to that. Again, I'm bringing back the ROI because I think it's interesting. We've seen coaching working a lot of times better than other advice-based interventions. Even if someone is more experienced than us, what worked for them doesn't mean it will work for us, especially in the fast-moving world. And also, they're a different person. We may need to do different things. And also, knowledge is not a barrier anymore. You can find it, so much knowledge is available. Sometimes the challenge is, what do I make out of all this knowledge? What do I need to do? And that's where coaching can come in. Myth number 6 is a coach is someone who will boss me around. I do not want that. Potentially, there are different types of coaching. There was one time I had a client it was for derailing me. I was hired because there was some difficult behaviors, and he was being difficult with the coaching as well. And at some point I was, you know what? I'm the only person in your life that it's my job to be on your side. That was the thing I said, and it actually clicked on him. I was like, oh, right. And I stayed with that. I said it in the heat of the moment of, why are you being challenging with me? Like, it's my job to be on your side. But it's true, in a coaching contract, the coach is on your side. That's their job as a coach. And sometimes it can be challenging, but it's always to help you. And this thing, actually, I'm a serious, I never wanted to hire a personal trainer, for example, because I thought this. I would have someone tell me, do push-ups and do pull-ups, and I thought I would hate it. Until this year, which I did, because I said I was investing so much on career, I need to invest on my health, and I hired a personal trainer, and I said, oh, actually it's not. It's a very supportive environment to help me to give me the tools to achieve my goals. In coaching, by default, you own the agenda. Like, if there is an agenda existing, that's not coaching, that's training. If it's like, today we're going to talk about leading, that's training. So in coaching, you bring the agenda. And most coaches will have a facilitative style. So in coaching, there's this thing that we call creative indifference. That I don't have an agenda as a coach. Let's say you come with a dilemma. Should I do A or should I be B? Should I do B? Most of the times, I'm creatively indifferent whether you do A or B myself. It's more around helping you to see what's right for you and helping with that. So I would say it's an equal partnership. So there's not a lot of bossing around. There are certain coaches that will be more directive and more as an accountability partner, and that's finding your match with a coach as well. My colleagues will think less of me. I think that's a good one. Who had that? I admire if someone is working on themselves. It means they value their career and themselves and their leadership enough to invest in it. So I don't know about you, I admire if someone invests on their personal development. Will there be people that may have a misconception that coaching is for low performance? Yeah, might, right? But I would expect in this culture, and especially because you also have a leader that is highly supportive of coaching, I would think this will happen less. And even if it does, do we really, it's just really important what will people think? That's my 2 cents.